Welcome to the 2019 Child Care Food Program Annual Mandatory Training, New Meal Pattern Changes. CACFP regulations require that all providers receive a yearly training to discuss material that is critical in remaining in compliance with the CACFP. The training will be based on the following topics: new meal pattern requirements, new milk requirements, monitoring visits, serious deficiency process, training, meal count, attendance, menu recording, review, submission, claim processing, standard agreement, rules and regulations, license capacity, nutrition topics, food safety and sanitation, civil rights. Although you are probably fully aware of each area, it is important that each provider is confident in their knowledge of the program and to remain in compliance with regulations. As of October 1st of 2018, all meals that do not meet the new meal pattern requirements will be disallowed. CACFP New Meal Patterns. Infant Meal Pattern. Infant Meal Pattern. 2 age groups, 0 through 5 months, breast milk or formula, 4 to 6 fluid ounces. 6 through 11 months, breast milk or formula, 6 to 8 ounces. 0 to 4 tablespoons of infant cereal, meat, fish, poultry, whole eggs, cooked, dried beans or peas, or 2 ounces of cheese, 4 ounces volume of cottage cheese, or 0 to 4 ounces of yogurt, or a combination. 0 to 2 tablespoons of vegetables, fruits, or both. Required when infant is developmentally ready. Breast milk and breastfeeding. If the mother comes to the daycare to directly feed her infant breast milk, you can claim those meals. Meals can be claimed if a mother brings expressed breast milk and if breast milk is the only food item served. Without any extra form, only the enrollment form is needed, and for as long as the child is on breast milk. Breast milk is the optimal source of nutrient. Bottles of breast milk must be stored in the refrigerator, used within 72 hours, and must be labeled with the infant's name and date of expiration. 6 through 11 months, gradual introduction of solids. Solid foods. Once the infant is developmentally ready, you are required to offer solid foods. Around 6 months of age, or as developmentally ready. An infant's readiness depends on his or her rate of development. Communicate with the parent about when to introduce solid foods. Fruits and vegetables are required to be served at snack when baby is developmentally ready. Juice can no longer be claimed for an infant under 12 months. Grains. Ready-to-eat cereals, for example Cheerios, can be served at snack only. The same sugar limit applies. Meat and meat alternates. Yogurt can be served to older infants developmentally ready to accept. The same guidelines apply as older children, and same sugar limits apply as well. Whole eggs can be served to infants. Previously, only egg yolks were credible for infants. No cheese foods or cheese spreads allowed. Tofu is not a credible meat alternate for infants. Infants feeding reminders. This is not a change. Enrolling infants. You may not avoid this obligation by stating that the infant is not enrolled in the food program. Infants do not follow the regular meal schedule. They follow their own feeding schedule. You must offer at least one type of iron-fortified infant formula. any brand approved for sale in the United States. Look at the nutrition label to make sure it is iron fortified. Enrollments. Who is providing the formula? Name of the formula, parent or provider. Infant declined. Must be submitted with enrollment if parent is declining your formula and bringing her own. If not submitted with enrollment, provider will be disallowed. Question: what is the new infant age group? Answer: 0 to 5 months and 6 to 11 months. Question: when are solids to be introduced to an infant? Answer: when the infant is developmentally ready and there is a communication with the parents and the provider. Older children's meal pattern. New milk requirements. As of October 1st of 2018, children between 1 to 2 years old, whole milk, unflavored milk must be served only. Children 2 years and older, only non-fat unflavored, for example, fat-free, skim, or low-fat 1% milk must be served to children over 2 years of age. Milk must be served at all main meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Milk allergies. Non-dairy beverages, soy milk, that are nutritionally equivalent to milk may be served in place of regular milk for children with a medical or special dietary needs. Children with milk allergies must complete a medical statement form. 2% milk is not allowed. Yogurt products and sugars. Some brands have higher sugar contents than others. Yogurt must contain no more than 23 grams of total sugar per 6-ounce serving. Applies to all age groups. Soy yogurt, half cup, 4 ounces of soy yogurt is credible as 1 ounce equivalent of meat alternate and must contain no more than 23 grams of sugar per 6 ounces. Non-credible yogurt products. Frozen yogurts, drinkable yogurt, homemade yogurt, yogurt bars, yogurt covered fruits and nuts, yogurt in commercially prepared smoothies. Question: what is the new milk requirement for children 1 to 2 years old? Answer: whole milk. Question: under how many grams of sugar is yogurt credible? Answer: under 23 grams of sugar. Meat and meat alternate. Meat and meat alternates may be served in place of the entire grain component at breakfast, a maximum of 3 times per week. 1 ounce equivalent of meat or meat alternate is equal to 1 ounce equivalent of grain. Example: cheese omelette, fruit and milk, up to 3 times per week. Tofu, soy yogurt, and edamames are credible. Tofu. Tofu is not credible towards reimbursable meals for infants. Forms: silken, soft, firm, and extra firm. Blended into a recipe such as soup that is not recognizable is not credible. Soft or silken tofu varieties, commonly added to smoothies and baked desserts, are not credible. Firm or extra firm tofu in dishes such as stir-fry, omelets, and soups that is easily recognized may be counted towards the meat alternate component. Commercially prepared tofu must meet protein requirements 5 grams per 2.2 ounces by weight. This is credible as 1 ounce of meat alternate, not homemade tofu. Tofu, examples of tofu that is sold in the supermarkets. Is this product credible? Tofu, fresh frozen berries, in a smoothie? The answer is no. The tofu is not recognizable in the smoothie. Question: how many times a week can a meat alternate be served at breakfast? The answer is only 3 times per week, maximum. Fruits and vegetables. Must be fruit and vegetable components or allowed 2 vegetables at lunch and supper, no fruit. Snacks. Allow fruit and vegetables to be served at snack. For example, carrot sticks and apple wedges. Dried fruit. Half a cup counts as half a cup of fresh fruit. Mixed vegetables or fruits. Continue to count as 1 serving of vegetable or fruit. Example, various veggies served in a soup or a fruit salad. Must contain at least 1/8 of recognizable vegetable or fruit per serving, and the minimum amount required is served in total. Added sugars. No beverages with added sweeteners, for example, sweet teas, diet drinks, sodas, juice drinks with added sugar, flavored milks. Variety. It is important to offer a variety of different fruits and vegetables. Juice blends and purees are able to credit 100% fruit or vegetable juice for the entire fruit or vegetable component at any meal. This means that you can now serve juice at lunchtime and dinner as well, but only once per day. Smoothies or juice can only be served once per day. The juice never replaces the required serving of milk, rather it replaces a serving of whole fruit or vegetable. It must be 100% fruit juice. Leafy greens. Keep in mind that 1 cup of raw, uncooked leafy greens count as a half a cup of vegetable. If cooked, the leafy greens count as the volume served. Portable water available to children upon request throughout the day. Blended vegetables and fruits. Continue to count as 1 serving of fruit or vegetable. It must contain at least 1/8 cup of recognizable fruit or vegetable per serving, and the minimum amount required is served in total. Question: what is the new fruit or vegetable component required for lunch and dinner? Answer: you should serve 1 fruit and 1 vegetable for lunch or dinner, not 2 fruits. You can do 2 vegetables. Question number 2. Juice is allowed only how many times per day? And the answer is only once a day. Less sugars. Many changes of less sugars to the meal pattern. For example, sugar limits on breakfast cereals, yogurts, juice, and now grain-based desserts. Grain-based desserts are non-credible. The list is cookies, sweet pie crusts, donuts, cereal bars, breakfast bars, granola bars, sweet rolls, pan dulce, toaster pastries, Pop-Tarts, cakes, cinnamon rolls, honey buns, brownies. Whole grain and whole grain rich foods. At least one serving of grain per day in your daycare must be whole grain or whole grain rich. Whole grain rich foods are those that contain 100% whole grain or are at least 50% whole grain and the rest are enriched. Choose at least one meal or snack that includes a whole grain rich food. How can I find whole grain foods? It's 100% whole grain. The food package says it's 100% whole grain. If you see these stamps, make sure that you buy the one that says 100% whole grain. If it says simply whole grain, you must check to see that the rest of the ingredients are enriched. Whole grain foods. These grains are whole grain ingredients. Your whole wheat, your millet, your brown rice, rolled oats, wild rice, whole grain barley, oatmeal, whole grain sorghum, bulgur, whole rye, whole grain corn, buckwheat, and quinoa. If the only grain is whole, it is listed as the first ingredient or second after water, then it is 100% whole grain. White whole grain breadsticks. The ingredients are whole wheat flour, water, enriched unbleached wheat flour, melted barley flour, white whole wheat breadsticks. The whole grain rich. First ingredient is a whole grain. Remaining grains in the product are enriched. Maintain a copy of the label on file. Wheat tortilla. We're going to read a few ingredients in the wheat tortilla. The ingredients are water, modified food starch, whole wheat flour, wheat gluten, wheat tortilla. The tortilla is not a whole grain rich. A whole grain is not the first ingredient by weight, and modified food starch is a non-credible grain. CACFP requires that whole grain wheat be claimed at least once a day. Effective October 1st of 2018, providers will be disallowed for days that do not specify that a whole wheat or grain was specifically served. How to avoid this disallowance? Do you claim online or do you claim on paper? Providers claiming online. Make sure that you slide, is this whole grain rich? When you're claiming online. When you're claiming on bubble forms, make sure that you indicate on the top whole grain served at meals that you are serving your whole grain. For example, if you serve it at the breakfast, make sure you indicate up on top whole grain served at breakfast. Question, how many times a day do I have to serve a whole grain rich food? Your answer is once per day. Breakfast cereals. Breakfast cereals must contain no more than 6 grams of sugar per dry ounce. Breakfast cereals include dry cereals, instant, and hot cereals. Look for cereals approved for the WIC program. Any WIC approved cereals in any state meet the CACFP sugar requirements. Many grocery stores post WIC shelf labels. Look at the nutrition fact label. Do a quick calculation by dividing the number of grams of sugar per serving by the number of grams of cereal per serving. If the result is 0.212 or less, the cereal is credible. Question: under how many grams of sugar are breakfast cereals credible? Your answer is under 6 grams or less. Deep fat frying, food preparation. Frying is defined as deep fat frying, cooking by submerging food in hot oil or other fat. Deep frying foods is prohibited in the CACFP. Cooking with some oil, such as olive oil or vegetable oil, is part of a healthy eating. To promote healthy cooking techniques, the following method of cooking are acceptable: sauteed, pan fry, stir fry. For example, fish or chicken nuggets may be reimbursable if they are pan fried, baked, or prepared in another way, as long as it is not cooked by submerging in hot oil or fat. Using food as reward or punishment. The CACFP requires providers to ensure that the reimbursable meal service contributes to the development of socialization of enrolled children by restricting the use of food as a punishment or reward. It is prohibited to withhold beverages such as milk as it is part of the reimbursable meal. Example, putting the milk or fruit on the counter and refusing to serve it to the child until they finish another food item. Example, refusing to serve the milk to children because they will spill it or drink before they eat other foods. Monitoring visits. Monitoring visits will be conducted at least 3 times a year by your monitor. All visits will be unannounced. If provider is not present, assistant must have access to all records pertaining to the food program and make them available for review for your monitor. Paperwork must be kept on a daily basis to avoid disallowances. Call the office. Provider must notify the sponsor when daycare will be closed. Closed for the day, vacation, or no attendance. By regulation, provider must notify the office if she will be away from the facility during a scheduled meal time. Notifying the sponsor avoids the chance that the monitor will arrive for an unannounced visit and find no one at home. Meals normally claimed during that day would then be disallowed and provider may be found as serious deficient. Capacity regulations. Small family child care license of 8. 6 plus 2. You may care for 4 infants only, 0 to 2 years old, 3 infants and 3 older children over the age of 2, 2 infants and 6 older children, 2 school-age children, 1 at least 6, and other enrolled in kinder. Large family childcare license, capacity of 14. You and your assistant may care for 4 infants and 8 older children over the age of 2, 3 infants and 11 older children with at least 2 children over the age of 6. Reviews of rules and policies. Records and home reviews. Daily records of meals claimed are mandatory. You must have available for review when daycare is open. Your menus, attendance, child enrollments are to be submitted within 5 days from when the child started. Parents' signed date must be the same as date enrolled. Keep these records for 3 years plus current fiscal year, a total of 4 years. This also includes all daily meal worksheets and enrollments or enrollment renewals. Reimbursement guidelines. Reimbursement is issued to providers. All claims must be submitted by the 5th of the month to Children's Resource Referral. When funds are received from California Department of Education, funds will be released within 5 days from received date. Remember to always record meals daily by midnight. Civil rights. Your civil rights non-discrimination statement should be posted in all daycare homes. Civil rights. Civil rights. You must have flyer displayed in your daycare facility. Not enrolling infants is an age discrimination. Requiring parents of infants to provide their child's food items is denying access to program. Not enrolling children in care in general is denying access to the program. Tier 2 providers, meal benefit forms offered only to certain children. Serious deficiency warnings. How to avoid being placed on the national disqualified list. Menus, attendance, and/or time cards not up to date. Failure of retention of records. Not notifying sponsor when daycare closes. False claiming. Pre-claiming. Not meeting meal pattern requirements. Overcapacity. Failure to complete an annual workshop training. Not following the meal service times, altering records after review, missing enrollments, meal observed different from what was claimed, failure of notifying sponsor of license status. KidCare, ready to claim online. New software makes it much easier to claim online, now available on all devices. Ask us how today. Thank you for participating.